There's the second requisite. Full surrender to God. And when you can do that, you can touch His omnipresence. You can register your presence as one with Him. And then He surely, being a true Father, filled with love and compassion, as Master said, He wants us more than we want Him. How can He but help answer us? I cannot understand anything but that. That's the consciousness we must drive home, that God hears and God will answer, because He is our Father and we are His children. Now, the reference, let's hear how the Master says it. He says it so wonderfully, a few things which I have brought out. From the autobiography first, the Lord responds to all and works for all. So He fulfills any sincere desire of the devotee. The Lord responds to all, but we have to follow those two requisites. He's willing to respond, but we have to get into His presence and then touch His omnipresence by full surrender. Then these words are absolutely true. Seldom do men realize how often God heeds their prayers, because many times they pray when they really want God. They go deep. They touch His omnipresence. Then He certainly answers. So our Master says, seldom do men realize how often God heeds their prayers. He is not partial to a few, but listens to everyone that approaches Him trustfully or with full faith. That's the greatest thing. His children should ever have implicit faith in the loving kindness of their omnipresent Father. And from the whispers of eternity, divine recollection. Why can we remember what we were, and that we are God's children, and that we are His omnipresence? Because we were in that state of omnipresence, and we can recollect it. So the Master says divine recollection is the simplest way to achieve God communion. Get into His presence. Fully surrender to Him. You'll remember what you were, a part of Him, one with Him. Our inner assertion, now listen carefully, our inner assertion of spiritual identity, as I have explained, oneness with God, is sufficient to operate the law for fulfillment of prayers. Here the Master points out it's a definite law, a definite law. And when you touch God's omnipresence, the inner assertion that you are one with Him and feel it and know it, the law works automatically. That's real prayer. These things are quite different than ordinary prayers, parroting prayers, as our Master used to say. And then finally, this law has been utilized by the saints of all ages. Two things, that's all. Get into His presence. And when you know you're in His presence, and there's no doubt about it, by the way I have explained, fully surrender to God. And His grace will let you know that there's no difference between you and His great consciousness and His all-pervading omnipresence. Such is the God that we have, and such is the God we must know more and more until final liberation and salvation. And so, love, divine love, as I have pointed out, is paramount in prayer. Paramount in prayer. Only by love will this whole world of ours change. Only when the hearts of men are changed by God's love will we have any sense of sensibility, if I can put it that way. God's love is what we all need. Those who are depraved and subject to bad habits and are addicts to any of the many things of which we are cognizant, they need one thing, and that one thing is God. Not just the God in idea, but the God in reality, which is His love. There's nothing more real or as real as God's love, and that's what we all need. Therefore, love is a paramount issue when we come to prayer. Let us understand that. If love for the infinite Father is the motivating impulse of our lives, then the prayer which Master suggested will be the only prayer we will ask. Reveal thyself, O Father. Reveal thyself. Whatever you want, I am satisfied with, because I know you are love. And feeling God's love, there'll be no question. There'll be no doubts. And then we can follow the Scriptures. Nor be you of doubtful mind. You cannot be that unless you feel God's love. It's impossible. Because we're human in one aspect of ourselves, and as long as a little of that is there, we doubt. But when you feel God's love, then you can realize that you are not of doubtful mind, as the Scriptures say, nor doubt not God. That's the point. Have faith in Him. That comes when you fully surrender to Him. There's nothing to it then. Until we do that, it's difficult, very difficult. And so in the Bible we have this pointed out, these very things. In 1 John, the 5th chapter, the 15th verse, and listen carefully. And if we know that He hears us, these are the things exactly what I've been pointing out, I've tried to do. If we really know God hears us by attaining His presence, whatsoever we ask, we know that we have the petitions